It's the midweek edition of Business Incorporated, and it's great to have you. I am Bisi Adebayo. On today's program, Kenya's biggest telecoms operator, Safaricom Limited, declares 20.7% earnings increase in the year ended March, and Libyan oil production reaches 792,000 barrels per day on restarted oil fields. Plus, Ghana's cocoa purchases reaches 757,506 tons from the start of the current season. Well, let's begin with the markets here in Africa, where it's a mixed bag of numbers, with Nigeria's NSE share index trading up at 1.8% at intraday. In South Africa, the GSE was down 0.03% at intraday as well. The market in Egypt was also up 0.61% at intraday, and the market in Kenya is still trading but closed 0.40% lower on Tuesday. Over now to the Middle East, where the Qatari index leads with a decent 1.28% gain at intraday. The Abu Dhabi index was 0.06% down, while Dubai's index was 0.39% lower, also at intraday. The Saudi Arabian index was 0.04% higher. And in Europe, markets are under pressure today as investors digest the news of U.S. President Donald Trump firing FBI Director James Comey. Investors also have their eyes on the latest batch of corporate earnings and search for clues as to whether major bourses could surpass recent highs. Well, the WTV Channels TV correspondent Conrad Bussen joins me now from Frankfurt to talk more about today's market activities. Hello, Conrad. The U.S. President Donald Trump is roiling the markets as he fires FBI Chief James Comey. What's the mood and discussions today on the floor?
Well, BC, I have to tell you, given that the equity market here in Frankfurt, for example, keeps trading not far away from its record levels, the mood among traders is not really a party mood. And this, as paradoxical as this might sound, has to do with the high levels of share prices. The higher that those prices have risen, the more, traders come out talking about a correction being overdue. And of course, traders are now discussing what might trigger this correction. And look at, I brought it with me today, the cover page of the New York Times today. This is what many people in New York are reading before they go to work this morning. It prominently shows the story of Trump sacking his FBI chief. And media here in Europe are commenting on this by drawing parallels to the Watergate scandal 40 years ago. They really make a big deal out of this. And this definitely has the potential to maybe not trigger the big sell-off, but at least make many investors very, very nervous.
Apart from the news coming from the U.S., the Japanese automaker Toyota has reported a quarter earnings slump of 20%, and that's on the back of a sales slowdown in the United States. Is this the Toyota sales and earnings a watch for traders and investors in Europe?
Absolutely, BC, it is, because what Toyota had to say about the American market applies to many German car makers, Volkswagen, for example, very much as well. Toyota has been speaking about the huge discounts it has paid in order to keep its sales numbers up, and those discounts have weighed on profit margins very much, so that now Toyota has to do something about it. What's more, Toyota also has been talking about the need to invest in new technologies. We all know that, electric cars, self-driving cars, this is the new trend in the car sector. Companies like Apple and Google are also going into these markets. Tesla is a new car maker who competes against the traditional ones. So companies like Toyota, but all the other car makers, have to invest significantly and significant amounts of money into those new technologies in order to stay ahead. And that's what's, on many minds of investors. And that's what sort of limits also the potential for car shares to increase. Toyota's shares today down here in European trading, around about 3%. That's a bit of a trend here.
Well, finally, Conrad, can you tell us what's responsible for the EU unemployment and underemployed latest figure of 15%? And that's if you consider the US figure of slightly lower than 5%.
Well, you know, this divergence between the US unemployment rate and the Euro area or European Union's unemployment rate has different reasons. One is, according to a few economists, that we count unemployment differently. There are economists who say that the unemployment rate in the US is so low because many Americans who actually are out of a job have stopped getting unemployment benefits, and that has taken them out of the statistics. So they actually are unemployed, but they don't figure in the unemployment rate. On the other hand, of course, we also have to take into account that the situation here in the economy of the Eurozone is might have improved, but in terms of unemployment, it's still not good. We do have a low unemployment rate here in Germany. We have a low unemployment rate in countries like the Netherlands, also up in the north in Scandinavia. But in countries like Greece, Spain, Italy, the unemployment rate is really still very high. And for example, in our important neighbor, France, the unemployment rate is still at more than 10%. That's not good. And that is, of course, the reason why the overall rate for the European Union and the euro area is still so very high compared to the United States.
Well, thank you very much, Conrad, for the updates coming from the market in Frankfurt. And, of course, do enjoy the rest of your day.